reflections on the phenomena of Hellenism as in a homology with globalism. Um, the structure of the uh, two um, sets of happenings, which are both manifold and full of uh, many varieties of being, impressions, uh, uh, or I think we should just say not impressions, as though it was a matter of depictions of something, but the beings a distinction can be made between an impression or the same this in order to see what an impression is, a depiction as such as the painting of deers in the forest. Which came out around the time of World War I by Gudinski. Yeah, there could be some kind of depiction there, but there could be some kind of distinction between whether that's a depiction of something or whether it's an attempt simply to show what deer in a forest are, as opposed to a special or particular deer in the forest. But what I want to avoid is saying one is in the mind and one is in the world or outside. One is outside, one is something. We could have that distinction as well. To some things we could point to and some things we can't point to. But what I want to avoid is then to say one is the thing itself, the real thing, and the other is a copy of the real thing. Or to get involved in a discussion about which is the object on its own. That's what I really want to dismiss here to get more Heideggerian, is there's no object on its own. If we could make a distinction between the depiction and the thing we can point to, but neither are on their own and both are the being. Let's look at it that way. And then we'll apply this to the impressions we have from secondary history, as it were, from the history that we receive, as it were, out of books and not from being the ones that lived it. The correct, and then we try to be as correct as possible about what happened. So in Hellenism, we have a lot of reports about sensible impressions to do with particular incidents concerning the attempt to uh, Hellenize or make more Greek uh, different local populations, but chiefly in the cities. Okay, that's one theme I think is concrete. I noticed some talk about how completely sloppy things are on the internet, and this tends to be Owen and the Agon made a thing on E.M. Forster's The Machine Stops, the short story, only um, uh, changing the title, giving it as The Machine Slops instead, and referring to X and social media and the like, I think. So I think the best way to combat that is simply to give specific issues which anybody that hears this can then say, here's subject matter. And I can have investigate this, I can look further into this, I can affirm it or deny it, I can say it's nonsense or not it's nonsense, but at least there's a specific subject matter to go towards. So one is in connection to the supposed homology or structural similarities and the possibility of getting some insight into the into our being from the supposed history of Hellenism, which supposedly began in 322 years. According to remember, every time we make any distinction like this, we're imposing some kind of standard in historian or somebody who claimed to lay down some technical definitions for the sake of clarity and organization that we already find there. So there's already this notion of Hellenism, and then a number of questions arise, such as, did the people that lived at the time know they were going through Hellenism, or is it factically the case that they were going through Hellenism? What does factically mean here? So maybe factically means we have the conception or begriff of Hellenism, and then we say of all the accounts that come down to us from that time, e.g. The book of Maccabees. There's 4 books of Maccabees, but let's say the first book of Maccabees as a special case, there's nowhere in there mentioned that this is a book about Hellenism. There's no awareness that this is the phenomena of Hellenism are unfolding here in their multiplicity. Nonetheless, we who have the begriff or general notion of Hellenism as this phenomena that, or as this phenomenon taken as a whole that comes after the period of classical antiquity or the ancient Greeks, where then already suddenly all the analysis of Plato about Apollos, or about the archipelago of Polises, seems to fall into question, because there's a kind of relativism comes in of a special kind where we're confused about what laws are we meant to follow. Because if you're in Athens, there were specific gods, there's specific ethos, but if you're simply in this huge pan-Hellenistic Greek world of Philip and Alexander, and it's not about one polis, but about a whole um, thing. Also, they did not have the concept of culture either. Practically, are we talking about a cultural issue? Um,